In December 1979, Chun Doo-hwan seized power through a military coup, dissolving parliament and declaring martial law. His regime, known as the Fifth Republic, was marked by strict authoritarian rule, censorship, and suppression of dissent. The Gwangju Uprising in 1980, brutally crushed by military force, solidified Chun's control. This period saw the consolidation of power under the Defense Security Command, with thousands of activists and politicians purged. The regime's legitimacy was built on promises of economic growth, but relied heavily on repression. The so-called 3S policy, screen, sports, and sex, was allegedly a strategy to divert public attention from political oppression. While no official documents confirm its existence, the regime actively promoted entertainment and sports. Color TV broadcasting expanded, and erotic films gained popularity, though critics argue these were industry-driven, not state-sponsored. Professional sports leagues were launched and the 1988 Olympics were secured, blending nationalism with spectacle. This era's cultural shifts remain controversial, often misinterpreted as deliberate distraction tactics. State-controlled media flourished under Chun's regime. KBS and MBC aired sanitized content emphasizing national unity and economic progress. Popular dramas like Jang Hwai Bin reinforced traditional values, while variety shows avoided political themes. The government subsidized color TV production, boosting domestic electronics. Yet independent filmmakers faced censorship. Scripts required approval, and dissenting voices were banned. This duality, state-sanctioned entertainment alongside suppressed art, defined 1980s Korean media. The 1986 Asian Games and 1988 Seoul Olympics were pivotal to Chun's agenda, showcasing South Korea as a modern, stable nation. The regime invested heavily in infrastructure, from stadiums to highways, while suppressing labor strikes that disrupted construction. Athletes became national heroes, and football matches drew massive crowds. However, these events also exposed inequalities. Poor residents were displaced for venues. The Olympics' success masked underlying unrest, culminating in the 1987 pro-democracy protests that toppled Chun's regime. Pop culture icons like Cho Young-pil and Lee Mi-ja dominated the 1980s, their music echoing both nostalgia and escapism. Talent agencies, some with rumored ties to the government, promoted apolitical stars. Nightclubs and cabarets thrived after the curfew was lifted in 1982, though authorities monitored them closely. Meanwhile, underground rock bands, inspired by Western counterculture, faced raids. This divide between sanctioned glamour and rebellious subcultures highlighted the regime's uneasy relationship with youth culture. The Korean Motion Picture Promotion Corporation strictly censored films, banning scenes depicting poverty or protest. Bureaucrats scissored newspaper articles, and authors like Hwang Sok-young faced arrests. Even seemingly innocuous content, like folk songs, was scrutinized for hidden meanings. Despite this, allegorical critiques emerged. Im Kwon-taek's Mandala, 1981, used Buddhism to question materialism. The regime's paranoia grew as samizdat literature spread, proving repression couldn't fully extinguish dissent. Universities became hotbeds of resistance. Student groups smuggled in mimeographs to print anti-government leaflets, disguising them as lecture notes. Secret performances of plays like The Spirit of Jeon Tae-il circulated in basements. In 1984, the Minjung, People's Art Movement, used traditional masks and murals to satirize the regime. Police informants infiltrated campuses, but encrypted messages and rooftop rallies kept protests alive. This defiance laid groundwork for the 1987 uprising. The Korean Central Intelligence Agency, KCIA, expanded its surveillance network, recruiting informants even among artists. Telephone taps and hidden cameras proliferated. In 1985, the Seoul Spring crackdown saw 1,200 activists arrested. Interrogations at the infamous Namsan Annex included sleep deprivation and waterboarding. Yet, these tactics backfired. Leaked accounts of torture fueled international condemnation. The regime's brutality became its undoing, galvanizing broader resistance. Government ads touted the miracle on the Han River, showcasing skyscrapers and Hyundai cars. GDP grew by 10% annually, but inequality soared. Factory workers labored 16-hour days for meager wages, while chaebol elites vacationed in Jeju. Department stores like Shinsegae displayed luxury imports, unaffordable to most. This veneer of prosperity cracked in 1987 when striking workers exposed labor abuses, proving economic growth hadn't trickled down. The June 1987 uprising, triggered by the tortured death of student activist Park Jong-chul, forced Chun to concede direct elections. Nationwide protests united students, workers, and middle-class citizens. Roh Tae-woo's surprise democratic reforms marked the regime's end. The 3S myth, however, endured, a cautionary tale about entertainment's political uses. Today, Korea's vibrant democracy contrasts starkly with its authoritarian past, yet debates continue over cultural control and collective memory.